Hi, Rob here. Welcome to the IELTS Transformation Writing course. This part we're talking about transforming your vocabulary for IELTS, which is taken from our video course and book, 28 Days to Transform Your Vocabulary for IELTS. The topic today is education. It's a very common topic in all parts of the test, and in the writing it could include such ideas as single-sex schools versus co-educational schools, how children should behave at school, what rules should be used at schools, what punishments should be used at schools, when children should start learning languages, whether children should learn practical subjects or academic subjects or both. Lots of ideas in here. Luckily, I'm assuming most of you have been to school, so you should have lots of ideas about this. Why are we studying word transformation? For two reasons. Your receptive skills, so the listening and the reading test. We want to improve your vocabulary generally, and we want to increase your knowledge of synonyms and antonyms to help you in the listening and reading test. Of course, also in the speaking and writing test, you are scored according to your vocabulary. There's the idea of range, so it means lots of different types of words. So a wide range of vocabulary, sufficient range, and adequate range, which means enough to talk about the task. Then we've got how common are the words? Are they common or uncommon? Less common, as you can see. Then we've got the idea of collocation, so words that go together. Co means together, location means place. And then we've got the idea of word formation. So how do you form your words? Are you using the correct form? Are you using the adjective when you should use the adjective, or the noun, or whatever form you need? So of course, understanding the word form is essential, and what form you need. Check our introductory video for more information about that. Let's crack on, shall we? Educate, learn, student, knowledge. Very common words that you need to talk about this subject. A researcher, assess, concentration, prepare. So we can use all of these words in pretty much most of the topics that would be covered in education. Let's have a look. So we've got educate, verb, educational, education, educator, educationally. Synonym is teach. Antonym is ignorance. To ignore is the opposite of education. There's also an adjective, educative, which a lot of people use, which is technically an adjective in English, but we don't use it very often. So I'm suggesting that you use educational instead. Remember, when I'm making these examples, you could write them down. They will help you to form good collocation. I acquired a decent formal education. They lack formal education. They got a compulsory education. Educational materials, we create educational materials. There needs to be more educational spending. Students need good educational resources. We educated our children properly or well. We educated our children privately. I teach well, hopefully. I was taught effectively about politics at school. They showed complete ignorance. Learn, both transitive and intransitive. Notice the ending there, British English with a T, so that's the one I use, but both are fine. So we don't need to talk about students all the time, we could talk about learners. There's a good synonym. So to learn, to study, digest. We do digest information, we pick it up, take it in. He's a fast learner. I have been a lifelong learner. They promoted early learning. They promote effective learning. My learned friends. That's a legal collocation. We don't usually use it in education. It's illegal. My learned friends. My learned teachers. Learned people means educated people. I'm eager to learn a lot about something. Motorbikes for me. The opposite is to teach. So you could use the I learned or I was taught. You could use the passive there. Student, to study. A study is the room where usually in a house where you study or work. Studious. He was a studious learner. Studiously. Academic. Diligent. Diligent means you work hard. Academic means you're using your brain well, hopefully. Opposite, he was a lazy student. Inattentive means he did not pay attention. Students prepare. The students prepared for the test. He was a mature student, an old student, a brilliant student. I took up part-time study. I began further study. He's a studious person. You wouldn't say a studious student, a studious learner, as I said. I studied hard for my test. I studied very carefully about, or I studied carefully about something. I studied at the university. I studied for my test. I studied with some great people. He became overly academic, so not practical enough, too academic. They seemed lazy. Knowledge, to know. Knowledgeable. He's a very knowledgeable man. Noun thing, understanding. Understanding and knowledge are synonyms. I acquired a basic knowledge. I acquired a profound knowledge. I gained a vast knowledge of grammar. Lucky me. He seemed highly knowledgeable about motorbikes. You know full well about the situation to let someone know. I let them know that blah, 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 blah. He spoke knowledgeably about English grammar. He showed a poor understanding, a complete understanding, a full understanding, a detailed understanding of something. I possess a detailed understanding of English grammar. Research a person. Research verb. This is when we look into or check. Opposite again is ignore. So, research is the thing. Notice research is uncountable. So we do some research or a piece of research. We don't do researches. I did researches. No, common mistake. I believed the researcher. The researcher claimed that. The researcher believed that. He was an experienced researcher. I carried out basic research in linguistics. He was well researched. He was thoroughly researched. I researched carefully into engines. To look into carefully. I looked carefully into what to do. I totally ignored. I conveniently ignored. I ignored altogether what they said. Assess, transitive verb. Assess or assessment, assessable, evaluate or appraise. So we evaluate students, we assess students, we appraise them. Means we almost examine them. So when we examine your English, we're evaluating it, we're appraising it, we're assessing it. We conducted a general assessment of people's happiness. We conducted an initial. We provided a final assessment of blah, blah, blah. We fully assessed the situation. We attempted to independently assess their English. We evaluated it effectively. We appraised properly. We regularly appraise our students. True. Concentration, concentrated. So to focus or pay attention. I lost concentration. Studying requires great concentration. He had poor concentration. I was highly concentrated in my thoughts. I concentrated hard on what I was doing. I concentrated intensely. I mainly concentrated on the grammar. It is hard to concentrate. True, for me. I was heavily focused or concentrated on the task at hand. I need to focus. Okay. Prepare. Hopefully you're preparing for your IELTS test, which will prepare you for university or whatever reason you're doing IELTS. So preparation, prepared, prepare verb, plan, neglect. IELTS requires intense preparation. It certainly requires adequate preparation. If you don't prepare, it's not happening. Some people say to me, or I say to them, oh, you want to improve your reading. Okay, how much reading do you do? I don't read. Okay, good luck. Imagine doing a driving test. So, have you driven before? No. Okay, we're not going anywhere. You will not pass. You might die. So, prepare carefully. To be prepared. I was properly prepared. I felt totally prepared. You seem poorly prepared. You came poorly prepared. You didn't bring your writing for me. You came poorly prepared. Oh dear. To help someone prepare. I help people prepare for their IELTS test. That's my job. I failed to prepare the lesson. We prepared for the writing test. It is time to prepare. It is time to mentally prepare for the speaking test, which you must do. We planned well ahead. We planned well. We planned ahead. You need to have a plan. Or you have to plan, sorry. It went as planned. The test went as planned. I did well. I knew what I was doing in the writing test, and I had prepared well for it. She seriously neglected the reading test. People generally neglect to understand what to do in the IELTS writing test, which is why I'm here. So that's it. Prepare well, concentrate, get the right assessment, do your research. That's why you're here, hopefully. Thank you very much for your time, and have a fantastic day.